Welcome to the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. And today I have with me Balaka Ghosal. And Balaka is an environment writer, living a simple, low waste life poised on faith and empathy. So I'm reading this here because it's so exciting. Okay, she helps people find fulfillment by lowering their water and carbon footprints to build a safer future for our children. For businesses, Balaka helps to strategize on their role in shaping a circular economy to ensure long-term profits. This needs to be a good bit of caring, courage, and conviction. So we have her website that is https://thegreenwriter.com. And she has a gift for you there. The Green Cheese 10 steps to creating your eco-friendly legacy of future well-being. The world needs everybody to create a legacy of well-being for our children. It's our responsibility together. Let's go do some good with harmony and respect. So thank you, Balaka. I believe in this truly, and it is, our future is our children, and we really need to take that seriously, and we need the world to be a healthy, safe environment for them. So glad you're with us.
Oh, yes, Patty. I'm so happy to be here with everyone. Hello, everyone who are watching or who would be watching later. This is very exciting, and thank you for having me here. I have a lot of good ideas to share with so much of goodness in the world. It's just sometimes we need a little guidance. I needed that guidance. I still need it. And now I'm spreading that to everyone who's willing to take it,
Spreading the love, spreading the joy. That's a fabulous thing. So having a business that was nowhere in your radar, and then this Green Writer LLC just happened, so, or was it cooking a long time in the back, on the back burners for you? I want to know all about this. Can you tell me about how this came about?
Yeah, right. If I start right from my childhood, I was such a quiet child sitting by the window, watching nature, but I would not speak up anywhere, to the point that my dad had to relocate often. And as an early elementary school, child going into completely different setting. And in India, I was growing up, which means you would relocate and the language is different. So it's not only a new setting, it's that my peers are speaking another language. And teachers often thought that I don't speak at all. Like I have a hearing auditory impairment. And back then they didn't say, respectfully. And one teacher, she kept asking, do you speak English? And I was like, I knew it was yes as an answer, but nothing would come out. She went to the principal and she said, I think she is deaf and dumb. And that, it actually built the empathy. Today, I know how much it hurts when those who really have that problem, when even a dog understands emotion. And so I am so thankful that the language has changed over the years. But as a third grader, and my principal changed my section, assuring her that I know she speaks because we have had a good, talking time together during admission. So anyway, from that curve, I became on stage, the big roles I had to do for high school theaters. I don't know how that slowly happened. My mom helped me a lot, looking into my eyes. She would kneel down, put her hand on my shoulder and said, you can do this. You don't have to be scared. So slowly, I kind of became a tomboy. And I have both of them inside me. But most of the time, that quiet nature was ruling. As you age, it's pretty liberating, actually. Those of you who are young out there, just know that old age is very liberating. You're not worried about what others are thinking when you have goodness within you.
Exactly.
So it started working on me. And I was a school teacher here. As a special education teacher, I was helping the students. And I thought that, as an immigrant, I realized how much of stuff America was using. So many of them had chemicals, and I started reading up on them, and everything is off gassing. And to make the kids feel good, we were doing the aerosol sprays, which is actually a cancer trigger for many. And I was like, wait, I need to change this. But in my school teaching capacity, I only had lesson planning and being a good motherly teacher out there. So I thought I need to help, but I didn't know how. I just had no idea, but a dream was just waiting to come out. It's pretty painful for those of you who have experienced that. So I heard many times the speech that Steve Jobs gave as the commencement speech at Stanford. I think it was year 2000, when he knew about his disease, but he had a few years. So he
Right.
said, when you are heading out to work, you look into the mirror and ask yourself, is this the job that's going to give me the ultimate satisfaction if I were to die at the end of day today? Would this job give me the most satisfaction? If the answer is no, 3 days in a row, something needs to change, the job or you. And I kept looking at the mirror, and every day the answer was no. And I was telling my colleagues who were, frustrated because it was an inner city school with challenges. And I should tell them that maybe we have something inside us burning to, come out, something germinating. Without an answer, I kept going. But then the day he died, I was listening to that on TV again. And I told my husband, who has a good job, fortunately, I had the privilege of taking this plunge. And I told him that, you know what, let me give my school the letter saying that after 7 months, I'm not going to come back. So they have time to look for a good teacher in my place. But I have to leave the system in order to touch the lives of children better.
Right.
Is the computer getting?
Yeah, it is a little bit.
Freezing up a little bit?
Yep. Okay, but
well, I think many people are zooming on Fridays.
Okay, so what I'm gonna fill in here for just a little bit is that I would say the same thing as the goal achievement strategist with what's going on in the world right now. If you're not happy with your life path right now, you may want to think about changing that. And right now a lot of people haven't had that choice. Their businesses are getting closed down. The where they worked is not even open anymore. So now is the time to be diverting. We've all talked about pivots and all this stuff. Now is the time to make the difference for the rest of what if you want to be happy for the rest of your life and live with joy. Like I use my initials are PJG. I live purposefully, joyfully, and gratefully.
Oh, I love that.
And to me, I want to do that every single day. And why wouldn't anyone? That's my opinion. Why wouldn't anyone want that life?
Right. And Patty, what I thought was that I don't know what I'm going to do, whether I'll be successful or not, but at least I'll die with the peace that I tried,
Right.
I tried to discover myself. Otherwise, we always try to be safe, like, oh, let me not give up this paycheck because my husband, job is good, but it's oil and gas, so it's connected with the market. So they have a job and they may lose it the very next month.
Right.
So I was taking a risk there, But to me, the call was so strong at that time.
Your curiosity, right. And I tell people your curiosity has to be greater than your fear. And here's a prime example. So that really was a surprise for you, Balaka. So
the second surprise, if I can go briefly on it, that I thought I would become, I started my life as a journalist way back. So I thought, let me go back to writing and I'll write about the environment and build awareness. But I didn't know that I have to do tax like a business. I thought I'll earn my money as a freelancer and pay my taxes, whatever, as a husband and wife combination. And then suddenly it was like no W-2 anymore. Oh, it's 1099. Oh, it's this and what's that? Oh boy, what have I gotten myself into? like doing business as DBA. What is that? And then I'm researching not on environment, but in a completely different area with a twinge of regret. But then I thought, you know what? This came to me unasked. I'm going to face it, take it on, and learn it well.
Okay, are these viewers and listening, are you guys getting this? Make comments down below if this is touching you in any way, shape, or form.
I think many of us are either going through this or have been through this, right? If you have already been through this, also share your success story here or share your little tip. That'll be very helpful. But yes, sometimes you get that whole gamut, the whole baggage, part of which you didn't even ask for. But take it on, said, you know what? Like, let's say, most of our businesses are not doing well. So even for me, I'm hardly getting new clients at this time, but I'm building relationship. And when I was transitioning, I spent time with my son because I knew that he's in high school. He'll be gone off to college, not knowing if we will ever be together under the same roof day after day. He would be visiting me and will be gone again. As an immigrant, we all have little values, or even as, Americans, you have certain things you always thought you would teach that to your kids, but the mindset, but you didn't get a chance to because you were working. If you're laid off, if there's some basic money to pay the bills, but not save or not follow a dream, that's okay. Take this time to do that bonding with your kid. Now, my high school son was like, why is she spending so much time? Why is she giving up a job for this? Like, really? But, eventually we were happy that I was always there when he's returning from school and when he needed help. So see what are the things that you wanted to do. Like, I'm forgetting her, Forbes Riley, right? Yeah, she said that sometimes we keep asking we hate the traffic and we wish that we had more time with our kids. And now we have it.
Right. So utilize it.
They're always there. We're not very happy.
There. So
be careful what you ask for.
Exactly. So back to that was a surprise for you. So how difficult was it for you to make that shift? And what was your biggest troubled spot that you had to fight through to make that shift?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, Patty. What I realized now that there is no finish line to learning. But back then when I'm starting out, I thought everyone else has a cool business. And I'm like the one and only person in my entire family who is trying a business. And that too, at 50, I started. So it was like I'm jumping into deep water, not knowing where I'm going to find land again, And I thought I'm going to learn it all up and become smart. But the stumbling blocks kept happening and I had my low moments, but soon maybe my meditational and the yoga habits made me feel that, okay, it's okay to spiral. Even in school lesson plans, we don't teach it all at one go. We keep spiraling so that the kids are listening to those things that they supposedly mastered. And we keep forgetting, right? Kids especially. So we spiral the lesson plan. I applied that to my own business and it's still going on. It's the spiraling. Certain things are like, oh, I got it. But there was one little thing I really hated to face. Now I have the courage.
So I have clients, Balaka, who actually are in the stage of life that you are or you were when you did your change. And it is difficult and it's scary. And I help people work through that and set their plans. But, the thing is, none of us, any single one. So anybody telling you this is lying if they tell you this is not, okay? Mm-hmm. We don't know what we don't know until we get there, and we don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody that says that they do, they're full of it, But that's the thing. You're not going to go into any changes and shifts in your life knowing all the answers, but you have to have that. You have to have that curiosity, you have to have the courage, and you have to have the consistency to work through the plans that you create.
Yes, yes. And not to focus too much on the numbers, because, all these courses that are coming to us on Facebook, it's like I got, like 5,000 a week by just trying this. And then even if we try it, we just made a 50 or 500 and then, oh, but that wasn't good enough, because we're comparing with the perfect. Forget the numbers, focus on the learning. Even failure teaches us more than what we were before the failure.
Exactly, exactly. And I teach people, those failures, break them down, use them as a fuel to learn from, to move you forward.
Yeah.
And it really is, it is all about that.
Yeah. And since I told you that I'm kind of two personalities, blended in a certain way, there are days when I don't feel like doing anything. And if there isn't any major interview or major deadlines, and I'm just not feeling like doing work, I do what Chris Bailey told in his book, Hyperfocus, that scatter focus is good too, because I am a copywriter or an online business support for green businesses inside my heart, in my whole persona. So even if I'm spending some time gardening or writing something completely different, meditating, doing a longer session of yoga, it seems like, look, she's away from her table. She's not focused. But that scattered focus is also feeding that core journey within you. So don't be guilty on days when you have to feel, you know what? I'm giving myself a sudden holiday. I'm just going to enjoy myself.
You're recharging your batteries so you can actually give more. And another thing that I would say in regards to what you were just saying is that don't comparing yourself to others isn't it. Don't do it. The thing you need to focus on is keeping ahead of yourself. Don't allow yourself to put yourself in that box and self-limit yourself. You have to stay ahead of yourself, because you're your own worst enemy when it comes to so many things.
Yes. The old conditioning keeps coming back. So in yoga also, when I teach yoga, I tell them, don't look at the person next to you. Maybe they have a longer leg size, or maybe their, arm or the shoulder is planned in a certain way. It reaches out, whereas yours don't, but you will be your better version than yesterday. Just go inside you and enjoy that. Same with business, because you don't know when it can take off suddenly. If you have been honing it, like
planting those seeds, right?
Yes. And like Michael Hyatt, I think just day before yesterday, he was talking at a webinar that when you're going to sleep, think of the good things you did, even if it's a tiny thing, like I smiled at someone or I discussed this with someone. And also I add that do a list of things I could have done better, but no regrets. Tomorrow it's going to be better. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So do you have any kind of easy tweak to work on the mind to make a confirmed change? So with that, a revelation that, what wasn't a revelation that impacted you big time, with your mind and mindset?
Yes. Yes, I have actually kind of like a dominoes. You start one thing gets done right, and the door creaks open, and then on that hinge, on that small hinge, even a big door opens up. So what happened with me, I was once filling up a form in a bank in India, and when it says occupation, and I had left my job, I was planning on doing this little business, so I had my pen on there, and then not knowing what to write. I'm like, what? I want to write writer, but that's like an imposter, how that imposter syndrome just keeps coming like a monster. And there I am holding that pen, not starting. And my dad peeped over the shoulder like, what's she doing? We need to hurry up, we're getting late. I said, hey, just put writer. Like that was a validation of what I was thinking. I wrote it that, okay, it's going to be in a dusty folder, in a bank shelf, no one's going to see it and laugh at it. But I wrote that word writer. Gradually, what started happening is I started thinking like one. And
Exactly.
later on, it's actually in public domain. You can Google the Acres of Diamond. It's a nice little story. It's like you'll finish it in 15 minutes or something.
Okay, so repeat
Acres
that.
of Diamond is also on YouTube.
Okay, so repeat that for our viewers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the author's name, but it's just Acres of Diamond.
Okay. Worth checking out. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be the first one that comes up with Acres of Diamond. You can get on YouTube and also in Google. Read that, enjoy that. There was a man who thought who would have to hunt. A soothsayer told him that you will find your acres of diamond. So he sold his house off. He kept his family with another relative and went out in search of diamonds, looked all over the world and didn't make it, didn't find his diamond. I don't want to disclose the ending, but what happened is you will find your acre of diamond if you follow that story.
Okay, now I'm going to have to check it out. Oh, awesome. Thank you for that. Oh, that's awesome. That is
so
awesome.
Writer, the writer word was like my uncut diamond.
Right.
That I found, and I thought, it's not shining yet. You know how diamonds are in the mine? It's just like any other stone. Unless you are an expert, you probably will just throw it away.
But you got to cut it. Right.
It in my pocket.
Right, but okay? even jewelers that have those precise little things, they've got to cut them just right to get them to have all that glorious shine and sparkle.
Yeah. Like my parents went to a very famous diamond mine, and actually they were allowed to dig through, and they were all rocks, and everyone, about 40 people were working on the mines, taking wheel cart loads of rocks somewhere, and people were going through it and said, how many do you find? We didn't find anything in half hour. He said, we find about one a month. And they're like, what? How do you pay so many people? I mean, how did it? They said that one pays for everything here and keeps profit. So you see how different a diamond is from all the rocks?
Exactly.
So finding it is important. I would say dig into your dream, find your diamond. Even if it's not shining at this time, slip it in your pocket, okay? Then the magic will happen, which is a grammar lesson for me. And it's like, what? Where is Balaka going with diamonds and grammar lesson? But guess what? If we call that diamond a noun, and you always learned in school that adjectives actually define a noun.
Right.
And the verb is an action word. I just didn't do anything with the diamond, but what happened is, since I slipped it in my pocket, I possessed it, it's mine now. The verb started aligning itself, and I was writing more, thinking like a writer, signing up for writing courses. I was investing and getting more curious, reading more, and think, I need to write a book on this topic, on that topic. I have a whole list. Then what happens? The adjective, like I was a bad writer, maybe unpublished writer, and whatever writer, starts getting better because the verb started working. And I was like, the adjective does define the noun, but adjective and verb actually work together.
Right. So they
are the partners. The noun is just sitting in between.
Right. And that's a play on mindset itself. Our mind and the way that we use our words to ourselves and what we call ourselves and what we think of ourselves is exactly what you were saying.
So if you pick your diamond, the verb will automatically align towards that diamond. And then after a long time, when you pull it out, it's like, who polished it? Your verb did, right?
Oh,
so that
wonderful.
Was amazing for me.
That's a wonderful.
And if you have time, I can kind of give my next place that has really helped me. And I'm seeing, do I have a couple of minutes to
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
on the same
actually.
topic?
So I was going to ask you that the process of your change, it's not a straight line. So the process that you
It's
use
a
is not.
spiral. It's a spiral, but the spiral is not going in circles, because a spiral, you know how in a spring it rises each time, it's going over the same lines, but at a higher level. Like just like a coil.
Right.
It's never going around in circles. It's not beating around the bush, because you're rising above the bush and then you
Okay.
go over the trees and over the clouds. Okay. Spiral all the way to, moon or out of the Milky Way if you want to.
Aha. Well, so yeah,
So the
that does make sense. That does tie together. And
yeah.
yeah, awesome. So go
And
ahead.
so as an ongoing journey, the other thing that started happening, that I started discovering, and it's not about I can do it and take a deep breath and face the fear. There's so much of writing on facing the fear. And I once, I was just reading about parenting, about a child crossing the street and the parents saying stop and running and getting the child back. And I said, look, that fear saved the child, because the mom had a fear that my child might get run over by that car that's coming, and she sped up on her adrenaline and did it. So I said, there's so many times I jumped off from the street to the sidewalk because a car honked. The fear made me jump so fast.
Right.
So, or when I saw a snake far away, I just knew what to do. So fear has saved me many times. The fact that I'm here today talking to y'all is because the fear has told me, don't blurt out. You wanted to punch that guy because he did something bad, a bad bully in the class. You did not punch, so you didn't go to the principal's room. You didn't get suspended. So your fear that that's too risky actually helped you.
Yes.
So fear is more like a mom who is constantly holding your hand, and then she forgot that you grew up and you became an adult, and now the fingers are almost sitting on your wrist. Now I need to talk to that mom and say, you know what, I'm grown up. Just keep watching me. You're right here, but don't hold my hand. Watch me play in front of you on the carpet. If I'm trying to walk out the door, if I'm trying to start a fire in the kitchen, then you come and teach me how to cook, but don't yank me or hold me back. And guess what? After that talk, fear mama was like, oh, my baby has grown up.
There you go.
She's okay, here's your coffee. Sit down and watch me, okay, mom? So I started calling fear like mom. It's an overly careful mom who forgot, still helicoptering over me.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that. And then fear became my ally. Then ego became my ally, because ego also comes and says, oh, you can't do it. You can't do that. Sassy talking. Or got me into a conflict where just because ego said you can do it, who are they to humiliate you? Hey, I don't need those battles.
Right.
I said, ego, just give me the courage that I'm worth what I am. I am worth those diamonds that I pick up, and you can pick up as many diamonds as you want, and then let me polish it. Okay, be my friend. And I put God in between, because I'm a believer, I just love it. So I put God in, like, imagine a solar system. I put God in between, and I'm rotating, and ego and fear are like my two moons. So I always have, there's no new moon. There's always some moonlight coming when I'm feeling darkness. I'm feeling fear saying you can do it.
Right now I want to just give you a hug, because I understand that. So, I understand that so immensely, that we all have the struggles, like you said, on one side and the other. But it is a balancing game, and also and having a true understanding.
Yes. And so that fear tells me when I'm actually being like biting my nails, thinking, can I do this? Can I get on stage and actually say that? Oh, I'm going to make some mistakes. And I look back, and fear says, go, baby, you can do it. I'm watching you. And ego says, mm-hmm, you can do it. Come on.
Yeah.
Get on stage. So it's like that friendly power coming from them, because just fighting fear is only going to make it worse, because fear has helped us in many ways.
Right.
Acknowledge it, respect it, and then immediately it goes kind of into its own place to help you.
Great.
So
That was
yeah,
a
that's kind of
great way
mine.
to share. Hey, if anybody
Thank
has
you, thank
any,
you.
anything they want to tell Balaka about how this has
Hmm.
touched them, and how they can have a better understanding of how to deal with our fears, and they're not always
Yeah.
something to be holding us back. We can
Hmm.
use them as a benefit for us. So fabulous.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patty. And
Yeah.
my I have been more or less fortunate, although yes, I have had my share of darkness, but on the whole, my childhood and my marital life has been cordial and smooth with mostly good people. But there are many dark moments. But I have empathy for those who have seen a whole lot more. Just know that you have my respect, and you also have the power within you to take you out of that and
True.
find your glorious best. Okay.
Yes, everyone does. And and what I tell people is that our choices and decisions that we make in life are what design our destiny. So really thinking of that, having the positive mindset and making those right choices and decisions can change the pathway of your life.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So
And
awesome.
don't get hung on the numbers again, because you have to redefine success sometimes,
Right.
redefine profit,
Right. And
redefine your journey.
exactly. Success is different to every single one. It
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily have to have a dollar sign attached
Yeah,
to it. Some people that do
exactly.
that are putting too much stress upon themselves, and that causes
Hmm.
them to self sabotage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too much of judgment comes in, like self-sabotage, as I said, that I'm not good enough. No, you are, you are.
Yeah, you
Think and
are.
Grow Rich also said the same thing. Napoleon Hill, he said that he wrote mostly about the money part, but in the beginning it's written, it can be anything that means riches to you.
Exactly.
And someone, he mentions God so many times. Someone said, why didn't you write about spirituality? And he said, I'm writing right after the depression, when I've seen men with their hunched shoulders judging themselves and feeling
Yeah.
low when they come back home at the end of the day with no bread for family. So even now, the pandemic is making us go through that hardship.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that find your riches, and that will take you to bread and butter. I completely have faith in that. We may not be rich dollar wise, but it will bring you your worth and bread
Exactly.
and butter.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, Balaka. Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, you've
thank
been
you for
such a
this.
wonderful guest. So if you have to condense your whole message in
Mhm.
just down to a minute, for these who are starting on their own dreams and their journeys to goal
Mhm.
achievement, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say something slightly different, or with some more juice added to it, because I help green businesses and I also help individuals who want to add more simplicity, and it's kind of therapeutic, and also it brings the costs down in your business. Also, if you cut down on some of the fluff that we think we have to do,
Right.
so it's a money saver and it's a sanity saver. So I would say that if you're doing any business or service, do explore the pathways that are being built down into our economic system that allows for more green steps, more eco-friendly, more circular, in the sense we are not digging up new resource and using it for a very little time and then sending it off to a landfill to stay forever, because it wasn't manufactured to be in the landfill forever. It was for use. In our grandparents' time, we would always use, things for decades. So involve and see how you can use resources where someone else says, oh, you don't need it, I'm going to use it to add value to a third party or mutual. Do more networking on that, because for our children's benefit, they need to know that,
Yes.
because just financial wellness, where all the resources are gone, the pandemic is a kind of a symptom of that damage. It's like that fine line on a dam. We don't want it to bust all the way. We want it to fix it now.
Right.
So
And
think of how your business can incorporate more of those to help your own mental therapy, to add more value to what you are doing. And definitely it's going to create a good legacy in your name for your children or nephews and nieces, for those who don't have their own, or anyone younger that we love, right? We're creating a good trend. Be part of that change.
right. And the choices and decisions that we make from this point forward with dealing with these things for our environment are going to make a big difference. Because right now, with what all the money, we'll just say, because I'm in the US, all the money that has gone out to fund all these government projects and people getting checks during this whole pandemic thing is money that is going to be taxed for our children and grandchildren to be paying back later down the road. So we better make sure that we're at least helping the environment to be there, to be for them to be healthy with.
Exactly.
Right.
Like simple things. If you're printing something, look for green printing options from recycled trees with soy-based ink. There are marvelous products you wouldn't even see and realize it's a different thing. But there's no toxins in it. Whereas regular printing is like a toxic,
Right.
you know, what do you call it? Nugget.
Right.
Simple things like that. In every business, we can do some small things. And on my website, I'm adding all those tips, this blog for everyone to learn something from.
Right. So do you have any special gifts for them? You said they can go to your website.
Yes. You know, there are two kinds of things. If you're planning on a eco-friendly business, because I don't know where your dreams are. So if you are planning on something eco-friendly, there are tips that you can do for that. Even the book that I'm writing, which should be finished any day now, is on what tools to use to increase your visibility online, to bring more, create your own email list. And the other side will be, you're not really thinking of a business right now, but you're growing in some other level, whatever your growth goals are. But you can still incorporate as an individual some of those steps. So I have those divided, so you can pick that and enjoy my newsletter. My newsletters are always a little bit about businesses and a little bit about everyone.
Okay, well, wonderful.
So enjoy them.
Thank you so much for being with me, Balaka. Thank you. And so everyone, this has been the Patricia Jo Grover Show, where we turn believers into achievers. Until next time, if you want to find out more about me, go to patriciajogrover.com, and I have special gifts for all the people who are our viewers and listeners on the little video that we're going to see right now. Until next time.